February 1959, deep in the frozen Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union, 9 experienced hikers vanished into the snow. And when rescuers finally discovered their campsite, something felt terribly wrong. Their tent had been sliced open from the inside. Shoes, jackets, and supplies had been left behind. Footprints showed the group had fled barefoot into the deadly night. Then the bodies began to appear. Some were frozen beneath trees, while others were buried under snow far away. Several had horrific internal injuries that investigators compared to the force of a car crash. One victim was missing her tongue, another had crushed ribs, and despite decades of investigation, no one could explain exactly what happened on that mountain. The case would become one of the greatest mysteries of the 20th century, known as the Dyatlov Pass Incident. The journey began in late January of 1959, when a group of university students and graduates from the Ural Polytechnic Institute set out on a demanding skiing expedition across the northern Ural Mountains, led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, an experienced hiker known for his discipline and leadership. The group planned to reach Otorten Mountain, one of the most remote areas in the region, and the expedition was considered highly difficult, requiring advanced survival skills and physical endurance. The team originally consisted of 10 members, most of them in their early 20s, intelligent, athletic, and experienced in winter travel. Photographs from the expedition showed smiling faces and joking friends filled with confidence. No one could have imagined that within days, every member except one would be dead. The only survivor was Yuri Yudin, who became ill with severe joint pain before the group reached the harshest part of the mountains and was forced to return home, a decision that saved his life, while the remaining 9 continued deeper into the wilderness as temperatures dropped far below freezing and strong winds swept across the mountains. But the group pushed forward, recording their progress through diaries and photographs. On February 1st, the hikers reached the slopes of a mountain known by the indigenous Mansi people as Kholat Shakal, which translates to Mountain of the Dead, a name that would later fuel endless speculation. That afternoon, the weather worsened dramatically as snowstorms reduced visibility and made navigation difficult. The hikers apparently lost their planned route and ended up on an exposed mountainside instead of reaching the shelter of nearby forest. Rather than descend in darkness, the group decided to set up camp directly on the slope. It was a dangerous but understandable choice because experienced hikers sometimes camped on open terrain to avoid losing altitude they would later need to regain. The group pitched their tent into the snowy hillside and settled in for the night. It would be the last night of their lives when the hikers failed to return on schedule. Concern slowly began to grow. At first, families and friends assumed the group had simply been delayed by weather. But after several days passed with no communication, search teams were organized. Rescuers eventually reached the campsite on February 26th, and what they discovered shocked everyone. The tent was still standing partially upright in the snow, but it had been cut open from the inside. Personal belongings remained untouched. Boots, coats, food, cameras, and supplies were still inside. It appeared the hikers had fled suddenly and in panic. Footprints leading away from the tent revealed another strange detail. Some hikers had left wearing only socks, while others were barefoot despite temperatures approaching -30°C. The tracks led downhill toward a forest over a kilometer away. Under a large cedar tree, investigators found the first 2 bodies belonging to Yuri Krivonyshenko and Yuri Doroshenko. The men were barefoot and dressed only in underwear. Nearby remnants of a small fire suggested they had desperately tried to stay warm. Branches high in the cedar tree were broken, indicating someone may have climbed it, possibly searching for the tent or trying to spot danger in the darkness. Between the cedar tree and the campsite, rescuers found 3 more bodies. Igor Dyatlov, Zinaida Kolmogorova, and Rustem Slobodin appeared to have been attempting to return to the tent before collapsing in the snow. Their bodies showed signs of severe hypothermia. At first, investigators believed exposure to the cold had caused the deaths. But months later, after snow began to melt, 4 additional bodies were discovered in a ravine deeper within the forest, and these victims showed injuries far more disturbing. Ludmila Dubinina, Semyon Zolotaryov, Nikolai Thibault Brignol, and Alexander Kolovatov were found buried beneath several meters of snow. Some had fractures to the chest and skull, so severe that investigators compared them to injuries from a major vehicle collision, yet strangely, there were almost no external wounds. Dubinina was missing her tongue, parts of her lips, and soft tissue from her face, which sparked horrifying rumors across the Soviet Union. Some believed the hikers had been attacked by military forces, while others suspected escaped prisoners, local tribesmen, or even supernatural creatures. Then another unsettling detail emerged when tests found traces of radioactive contamination on some clothing recovered from the victims. As news spread, theories exploded. Some believed the group had witnessed secret Soviet military experiments because the Cold War was at its height and the Soviet Union regularly tested weapons in remote areas. Witnesses in nearby regions reported seeing mysterious orange lights in the sky around the same time the hikers disappeared. Could the group have encountered a classified weapons test? Others suggested an avalanche may have forced the hikers to cut their way out of the tent in panic. According to this theory, a buildup of snow above the campsite created fear that the tent would be buried, causing the hikers to escape quickly and become lost in the freezing darkness. But for years, critics argued the avalanche explanation did not fully match the evidence because the slope where the tent was found did not appear steep enough for a major avalanche, and the tent itself remained partially standing. Some theories became even stranger as speculation about secret sound weapons, infrasound-induced panic, and paranormal forces filled books and documentaries. Legends spread that the hikers were victims of creatures roaming the mountains, and the mystery grew larger with every passing decade because the Soviet investigation itself only deepened suspicion after authorities closed the case with a vague conclusion, stating that the hikers died because of a compelling natural force. No clear explanation was provided. Many documents were classified while photographs and reports disappeared into archives. And for years, Soviet officials discouraged discussion about the incident. This secrecy transformed the Dyatlov Pass Incident into a global obsession as researchers spent decades examining photographs, diaries, weather records, and forensic reports while theories multiplied across television, books, and eventually the internet. The mystery became one of the most debated, unsolved cases in modern history. Then, decades later, modern investigators reopened the case, and in 2019, Russian authorities announced a new official investigation using updated technology and scientific modeling. After extensive analysis, investigators concluded that a slab avalanche was the most likely explanation. According to the modern theory, a compact layer of snow shifted above the campsite sometime during the night and fearing collapse. The hikers cut their way out of the tent and moved downhill to safety. Poor visibility, freezing temperatures, exhaustion, and severe weather then prevented them from returning. Scientists later demonstrated that certain avalanche conditions could indeed occur on slopes similar to the one at Dyatlov Pass, and some researchers even used computer simulations originally developed for animated films to model the snow movement. The explanation answered several long-standing questions, but not everyone was convinced. Critics still point to unusual injuries, missing evidence, and unexplained details, while questions remain about the radiation traces and reports of glowing lights in the sky. Others argue that panic alone cannot explain every decision the hikers made, and perhaps that uncertainty is why the story continues to fascinate people around the world, because the Dyatlov Pass incident is more than a mystery about death in the mountains. It is a story about fear, survival, secrecy, and the limits of human understanding. 9 young explorers entered the frozen wilderness searching for adventure, and none of them returned. Their cameras captured moments of laughter and friendship, while their diaries recorded optimism and determination. Then suddenly, Something happened on that mountainside that forced them into the darkness, and for over 60 years the world has tried to answer one question. What terrified the Dyatlov group so badly that they abandoned their shelter and ran into the freezing night? Even now the mountain keeps its secrets.